Now, the Hollywood director Oliver Stone, certainly no stranger to controversy, is setting out to retell the American story in a new documentary and a book. I sat down with him and his co-author earlier today. So will their version of history be any more truthful?
We were the center of the world. There was a manifest destiny. We were the good guys. And I wanted to tell the American story in a way that has never been told before. There are many questions that you may not find answered here, but you will find questions raised that I hope will help make you more conscious.
Do you believe Americans are basically misled and lied to even today in their high schools, colleges and families?
I do. I don't know if it's lied is the right word, but certainly misled and misrepresented the actions of America, yes.
You seem sort of ashamed of your country in these programs. Is that a fair way
ashamed of? No, I don't think we're ashamed of our country. We're critical.
Yeah, we're critical. I think we're willing to, when we hear Hillary Clinton and the triumphalist narrative, when she says this, we're now confronting Asia, the pivot to Asia, and she talks about the 21st century is America's Pacific century. It sickens us because we don't learn anything from our history. We don't. It will not work. A new containment policy against China that we're going to do as we did against the Soviet Union. It's hostile. Are
you shocked that it's President Obama leading the country in this way?
No, I'm disappointed by Obama. He's talked very idealistically. In 2008, he gave us great hope, but we find in our Chapter 10, we show that he's disappointed most of us by basically being a far more effective manager of empire than George Bush was.
You clearly argue, which is now quite a familiar argument, that the Bush administration was intent on going after Iraq, regardless of what the truth was about the 9/11 attacks. What do you believe was the right response to 9/11? What should they have done?
I would have responded in the same way that it was a highly devastating criminal attack, but it's a terrorist attack at the end of the day. And you had suffered them in Spain, England, Italy, Germany, France, had all gone through horrible terror attacks in the 1970s and 80s. Police, intelligence work would have solved it. They would have found Osama the same way, through informers. We have a very good means. We have good intelligence. There was no need to build up and militarize this planet in response to 9/11 and call it a huge, as Bush did, what was the words he used? A tremendous battle, monumental struggle between good and evil. Well, I mean, come on. Is evil the enemy?
So you support the targeted assassination by America of bin Laden, but not the war on Afghanistan. Is that what you're saying?
Now, this is a tricky issue, and extrajudicial killing outside your borders was condemned by the United States pre-9/11. Israel had done it with the Palestinians, The United States chose a different path with Bush. It decided that the laws and the treaties that exist between countries did not exist for them, and that we had the right to arrest or go after anybody who was a terrorist. But the definition of terrorism has been extremely clouded, and as we know, there's a lot of lawsuits out there. So the United States essentially behaved like an outlaw.
What would have been the right post-9/11 response?
We
and if you say it was wrong to go to war in Afghanistan, and it would have been wrong to assassinate bin Laden,
no, what
would have been the right thing to do?
We declared war in Afghanistan.
But it was a mistake to do that, because that was not a smart response. The United States has spent, in the global war on terror, we're spending in Iraq and Afghanistan $4 trillion. What do we get out of this? First of all, Mullah Omar and the Taliban were opposed to the 9/11 attacks. We could have negotiated for them to give us Osama bin Laden. They were actually open to doing so at one point, but we responded in this militarized way.
And Iran was helping us. Iran was helping us in that negotiation.
Yes. Yeah.
When you make a movie, people can pick and choose which bits they regard as factual and which bits they regard as drama. When you write a book or when you do a documentary, you are purporting this to be fact, to be truth.
That's right.
Is this truth, or is this your redressing of the balance, if you like?
Well, the facts have been fact-checked twice by Showtime and by CBS. We also ran our own fact-check. It took 5 years to put together. We select, like all historians, we select the facts that we want to present in the pattern we want to project. At the introduction of the book, we write about that we're going to set out to redress a balance. But we think we've got the primary salient facts here and the patterns we show.
Why are Americans so gullible?
Advertising. We're very good at it.
Why are they gullible? They're not so gullible. Once you give them an alternative view, I think it makes sense to them. So we don't expect people to pick this up and to see the documentary and say, oh boy, everything I thought was wrong. We want them to question. We want them to read our book, and they can read other books from another perspective. They can see our documentary, and they can see the alternative. And we're convinced that if people see this, because we've tried it, and if they look at our perspective and they put it up against the traditional American narrative, they're going to be persuaded. A lot of them are going to be persuaded by what we're saying.
Peter Kuznick, Oliver Stone, thank you both very much.
That's it from us.
We're back tomorrow at 7. Until then, that's Channel 4 News. Have a very good evening.
Good night.